The American suburban kitchen of 1985 ran on heat, lead, and trust in the badge on the box. Avocado green ovens self-cleaned at 600 degrees with the kids 2 feet away. Toasters lived next to the wet sink. Irons sat plugged in for hours. Humidifiers coughed mineral dust into carpet. Most of those machines are now banned, recalled, or outlawed by rules that did not exist back then. Number 19 on this list electrocuted enough children to rewrite the small appliance code. Number 13 was advertised on Saturday morning cartoons. Number 4 on this list was sold at Sears as a wedding gift and is now hazardous waste. The paradox is that these machines felt safer than today's smart appliances, even though they were measurably more dangerous. They were heavy, simple, and built by a neighbor you could yell at. Now hit subscribe and let's open the cabinet, because here are 25 household appliances from the 1980s that are illegal now. Number 25, lawn darts, sold under the brand name Jarts. These were not toys. They were 10-inch steel-tipped spears that you tossed underhand at a plastic ring across the backyard, and your dad bought them at Kmart for $14 in 1985. The packaging said adults only, but every kid on the block threw one. Between 1978 and 1986, lawn darts sent an estimated 6,100 people to the emergency room, and 81% of them were under 15. 3 children died, including 7-year-old Michelle Snow in 1987, who took a jart through the skull while playing in the yard. Her father campaigned for 2 years, and on December 19, 1988, the CPSC banned the sale of lawn darts outright. They are still banned. If you find a set in your garage, the official guidance is to destroy them. Number 24. The hairdryer your mother used every morning before work. Clairol, Conair, Schick, Hamilton Beach, Norelco, Sunbeam, General Electric. Every major brand on the bathroom counter in 1979 had a heat shield lined with asbestos, and that shield was blowing microscopic fibers straight into your face at warm setting. The CPSC identified 111 different models. Sears pulled them off the shelves on April 4, 1979. 26 manufacturers admitted under federal order that their dryers contained the material. The corrective plans rolled out through 1980, and most families never sent theirs back. The dryer stayed on the bathroom counter through the entire decade because the warning letter went to the manufacturer, not to you. Owning one today is not illegal, but selling one is regulated as asbestos transfer, and most county hazardous waste days now accept the old dryers for proper disposal alongside paint thinner and old batteries. Number 23. The avocado green refrigerator humming in the corner of every 1980s kitchen, charged with R12 Freon. R12 is a chlorofluorocarbon, and when the compressor failed or the family hauled the unit to the curb, that gas vented straight into the atmosphere and ate a hole in the ozone layer the size of North America. Production of R12 ended on January 1, 1996 under the Montreal Protocol, and venting it is a federal violation under the Clean Air Act with fines that start at $37,000 per day. Older refrigerators with R12 cannot legally be recharged, scrapped, or moved without a certified technician recovering the gas first. The EPA estimates the Montreal Protocol will prevent 280 million skin cancer cases and 1.6 million skin cancer deaths through 2100. That hum in your grandmother's basement was a slow-motion ozone bomb. Number 22. Aluminum wiring behind the outlet where you plugged in the coffee maker. Between 1965 and 1973, copper prices spiked, and about 1.5 million American homes were wired with single-strand aluminum instead. The problem is that aluminum expands and contracts more than copper, and every time you ran the toaster or the iron, the connection at the outlet loosened a hair. After 10 years, those loose connections heated up, and the wire behind the wall started melting the insulation. A CPSC study found that homes wired with pre-1972 aluminum are 55 times more likely to reach fire hazard conditions than copper homes. The wiring itself was never banned outright, but it was phased out of residential construction by the late 70s, and modern code prohibits new aluminum branch circuits in homes. Your 1985 house might still have it. Number 21. The round Honeywell thermostat on the hallway wall. The dial moved a glass vial of liquid mercury, and the mercury closed the circuit when the room got cold. Each thermostat held about 3 grams of mercury, and there were 200 million of them installed across American homes. When the thermostat got swapped during a renovation, the old unit went straight into the trash. The vial cracked at the landfill, and the mercury entered the soil. California banned the sale of mercury thermostats in 2006, Washington the same year, Illinois in 2008, Pennsylvania in 2009. 17 states now run extended producer responsibility collection programs. The thermostat your father installed in 1984 cannot legally be thrown out today. It has to be returned to a certified collection site, the same way you would handle a fluorescent tube or a button battery. Number 20. The cast iron wood stove in the family room. Before 1988, there were no federal limits on what these things put into the air. A typical pre-EPA stove released 40 to 60 grams of particulate matter per hour, which is heavier than the smoke from an open campfire, and it went straight up the chimney into the neighborhood. The 1988 EPA New Source Performance Standards capped non-catalytic stoves at 7.5 grams per hour and catalytic units at 4.5. The 2020 update cut that to 2.5. Selling a non-certified wood stove is now a federal violation, and several western counties bar pre-1988 stoves from being used during winter air quality alerts. The stove your uncle proudly installed in 1983 is now classified as a major residential air pollutant. Number 19. The bathroom outlet with 2 slots and no third hole. This is the one the intro promised. Through most of the 1980s, half of American bathrooms still had the original 2-prong wiring from the 1950s and 1960s, with no ground fault circuit interrupter. When a kid dropped a plugged-in hairdryer or a curling iron into the sink, the current ran straight through the water and through the child. CPSC injury data from the late 70s and early 80s drove the rewrite of the Small Appliance Code. The 1975 National Electrical Code required GFCI protection on bathroom receptacles, and the 1987 code extended it to kitchen counters within 6 feet of the sink. Owning an ungrounded bathroom outlet today fails the inspection on every home sale, and the National Electrical Safety Foundation still counts pre-1987 wiring as a leading cause of preventable household electrocution recorded across the post-war decades. Number 18. The portable kerosene heater the family wheeled into the living room when the furnace failed. They cost about $90 at the hardware store in 1982, and they put out 15,000 BTUs of warmth, along with carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide, all venting straight into the room. The Newark fire chief petitioned the CPSC for a federal ban in 1980 and was turned down. California, Massachusetts, and parts of New Hampshire and Ohio banned indoor use during the early 80s. Massachusetts still prohibits them inside any dwelling under state fire code. Wisconsin barred them in multifamily buildings. The heater that warmed the den during the 1985 blizzard is illegal to operate indoors across most of the Northeast today, and the fire marshals trace it back to a string of carbon monoxide deaths in poorly ventilated homes. Number 17. The wood cabinet console television in the living room, the big Magnavox or Zenith or RCA your parents bought on layaway for $900 in 1983. Here is what most people miss about that television. The picture tube was a cathode ray tube, a vacuum-sealed cone of glass with phosphors painted on the back of the screen, and the funnel section of that glass contained 4 to 8 pounds of lead. The lead was deliberate. It shielded the family from soft X-rays generated by the electron gun when the set was running. Every American living room from 1955 through the late 90s had between 5 and 12 pounds of lead sitting behind the screen, aimed at the couch. While the set was working, the lead stayed locked inside the glass and the X-ray shielding worked. The trouble starts when the set dies. You hauled it to the curb in 1998, the trash company hauled it to the landfill, The glass cracked under the weight of the bulldozer, and the lead leached into the soil. By the early 2000s, the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act classified CRT funnel glass as hazardous waste because the lead content exceeds federal toxicity limits. 25 states now ban CRT televisions from regular landfills outright. New Hampshire, Minnesota, California, Massachusetts, and Maine treat curbside disposal of a console TV as illegal dumping of hazardous material, with fines that climb past $1,000 per unit. If you grew up watching cartoons 3 feet from a 60-pound Magnavox, you were sitting that close to several pounds of lead, and the only reason it never harmed you is that the glass held. The set is not the danger. The set in the trash is the danger. And every grandmother in America who still has one in the basement is sitting on something the EPA classifies the same way it classifies battery acid and old paint. Number 16. The tall halogen torchiere floor lamp in the corner of the dorm room and the living room. The upturned bowl at the top held a small halogen tube, and that tube ran between 700 and 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot enough to ignite a curtain, a magazine, a paper lantern, anything that fell into the bowl or sat close to it. By 1999, the CPSC had traced 189 fires and 11 deaths to the design. Brown, Yale, Princeton, Harvard, Penn State, the University of Colorado, the University of Arizona, and dozens of other universities banned the lamps from residence halls during the late 90s. The lamp itself was never outlawed at the federal level, but most college housing contracts now list it as prohibited equipment. The same lamp your roommate had on sale at Target for $29 is now treated as a fire hazard on every campus. Number 15. The rounded white refrigerator with the heavy chrome door latch, the kind you saw in basements and garages and on back porches through the entire 1980s. Before 1958, refrigerator doors closed with a mechanical latch that could only be opened from the outside. Between January 1954 and June 1956, 54 American children were trapped inside discarded refrigerators during games of hide-and-seek, and 39 of them suffocated. Congress passed the Refrigerator Safety Act of 1956, requiring all refrigerators manufactured after October 31, 1958, to open from the inside. Latching units kept appearing on curbs through the 1980s because families used the old ones for garage beer fridges. Federal law requires the door to be removed before disposal, and most municipalities now refuse to haul any refrigerator with the latch still attached. Number 14. The glass mercury fever thermometer in the medicine cabinet. Every household had two, one under the tongue, one rectal for the baby. Each thermometer held about half a gram of liquid mercury inside a slender glass tube, and when a kid dropped it on the bathroom tile, the silver droplets rolled under the radiator and stayed there for 30 years. 13 states have banned the sale of mercury fever thermometers, starting with New Hampshire and Maine in the early 2000s. The EPA classifies a broken thermometer as a hazardous materials spill if the cleanup is not handled correctly. Pharmacies stopped stocking them around 2003. The pediatrician who handed your mother one in 1984 would face professional discipline for doing the same thing today, and most county waste programs now treat that little glass tube the same way they treat an old can of pesticide. Number 13. The Easy Bake Oven. This is the second one the intro promised, the appliance advertised on Saturday morning cartoons between Scooby-Doo and the Smurfs. Hasbro sold the toy as a real working kitchen for kids ages 8 and up, and millions of them ended up under Christmas trees through the 1970s and 1980s. The original models used a 100-watt incandescent bulb as the heating element, and the cavity ran between 300 and 350 degrees. Hot enough to bake a brownie. Hot enough to burn a hand. After a redesign launched in 2006, Hasbro and the CPSC recalled 985,000 front-loading ovens in July 2007, after a 5-year-old girl had part of a finger amputated when her hand got caught in the heating chamber. The recall logged 77 burns, 16 of them second-degree or third-degree. Hasbro pulled the light bulb design permanently. Number 12. The back of every television, VCR, and personal computer in the family room. Manufacturers sprayed the plastic housings with polybrominated diphenyl ethers, a class of brominated flame retardants known as PBDEs, to keep the casings from catching fire when the internal wiring overheated. The compound did its job inside the box. The problem is that PBDEs do not stay in the plastic. They migrate out into household dust, settle on carpet and couch cushions, and the CDC found measurable levels in the blood of 97% of Americans tested. The European Union banned Penta and Octa-BDE in 2004. Maine, Washington, California, and 7 other states followed between 2004 and 2008. The decabromodiphenyl phase-out was finalized by the EPA in 2013. The console television in the 1985 den is now classified as a persistent organic pollutant under the Stockholm Convention. Number 11. The home tanning bed that mall stores like Suntan City and Tan World sold by the thousand through the late 1980s. The unit fit in a spare bedroom or a basement, plugged into a standard outlet, and ran banks of fluorescent UVA tubes at intensities up to 12 times the strength of midday Mediterranean sun. The World Health Organization moved tanning devices into Group 1, known human carcinogens, in 2009, the same category as tobacco and asbestos. In 2014, the FDA reclassified all sun lamp products from low-risk Class 1 to moderate-risk Class 2 and required black box warnings against use by anyone under 18. 44 states now ban minors from commercial beds outright. The 30-minute home session your aunt swore by in 1986 is medically classified the same way the Surgeon General classifies cigarettes. Number 10. The aerosol can of Aqua Net or White Rain on the bathroom counter. American manufacturers had switched away from chlorofluorocarbon propellants in personal care aerosols by 1978 under EPA pressure, but the global supply did not shut down until the Montreal Protocol kicked in on January 1, 1989. Mexican, Asian, and Eastern European brands kept selling CFC sprays into the early 90s. Every can your sister emptied over her bangs vented chlorofluorocarbon 11 and chlorofluorocarbon 12 straight into the upper atmosphere, where one chlorine atom destroyed up to 100,000 ozone molecules before settling out. Production of CFCs for aerosols is now a federal violation under the Clean Air Act with a maximum penalty of $37,500 per day. The hairspray cloud over the prom in 1986 was, by mass, a small ozone-depleting weather event. Number 9. The soft vinyl shower curtain hanging in every American bathroom. The plastic was polyvinyl chloride softened with phthalate plasticizers, mostly DEHP and DINP, and a 2008 study by the Center for Health, Environment, and Justice measured 108 different volatile organic compounds off-gassing from a single new curtain over 28 days. That chemical smell when you opened the package was the plasticizer evaporating. The Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act of 2008 banned 6 phthalates, including DEHP, from any childcare article or toy. California Proposition 65 requires warning labels on PVC products. Major retailers, including Target, Walmart, and Bed Bath & Beyond, pulled phthalate vinyl curtains from their shelves between 2009 and 2013. The shower curtain that hung in your bathroom in 1986 cannot legally be sold for a child's bathroom today, and the chemical smell that once filled the steam from the first hot shower is now a recognized indoor air pollutant. Number 8. The clear, hard plastic baby bottle on the kitchen counter. Playtex, Evenflow, Gerber, and Avent. The polycarbonate plastic contained bisphenol A, a synthetic estrogen mimic that leached into the formula every time the bottle was sterilized in boiling water. Canada banned BPA in baby bottles in 2010, the first country to do so. The FDA banned it from American infant feeding bottles and sippy cups on July 17, 2012, and from infant formula packaging in 2013. Minnesota, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, Vermont, and Washington passed state bans ahead of the federal rule. The bottle that warmed every 2 a.m. feeding in 1987 is now classified as an endocrine-disrupting hazard, and selling a polycarbonate bottle for infant use is a violation of federal law. Most pediatric hospitals also pulled the old bottles from their neonatal supply rooms within a year of the rule. Number 7. The can of Easy Off or Mr. Muscle oven cleaner under the kitchen sink. The original formulations through the mid-1980s combined sodium hydroxide foam with chlorofluorocarbon propellants and methylene chloride solvent, and the warning label said, "Open a window and wear rubber gloves." Families sprayed it on a cold oven on Saturday morning, walked away for 2 hours, and came back to wipe the racks with a sponge. The CFC propellants vanished from American shelves by 1989 under the Montreal Protocol, and the EPA finalized a ban on consumer methylene chloride paint strippers and aerosol products in March 2019 after 53 documented worker deaths and 4 bystander deaths since 1980. Selling an oven cleaner with the 1985 formulation is a federal violation. The can that cleaned the Thanksgiving oven every November is now treated as a hazardous air pollutant product, and the active ingredient is regulated alongside industrial solvents under the Toxic Substances Control Act. Number 6. The Mr. Coffee or Norelco drip pot on the kitchen counter, the one with no automatic shutoff and a hot plate that stayed at 300 degrees Fahrenheit until someone remembered to unplug it. Through the 1980s, coffee makers were the number 3 cause of small appliance house fires behind toasters and irons, with the U.S. Fire Administration logging an annual average of 750 structure fires traced to unattended pots. Underwriters Laboratories tightened standard UL 1082 in the early 1990s to require automatic 2-hour shutoff on all heating elements, and the 1995 revision made the feature mandatory for the listing mark. A coffee maker without auto shutoff cannot get UL certification today, and most state insurance codes refuse to write homeowners coverage if uncertified small appliances are in regular use. The pot that sat hot through the entire workday in 1984 would not pass listing for sale today, and the Glade plug-in next to it would be flagged by the same inspector. Number 5. The electric blanket folded at the foot of the bed every winter from 1965 through the late 1980s. The older models had a single thermostat in the controller, no internal overheat protection on the heating wires, and no auto shutoff. If the blanket got bunched up, the trapped heat ran the wires past their insulation rating and the bedding caught fire. The CPSC traced roughly 5,000 structure fires and 99 deaths to pre-1994 electric blankets across the late 70s and 80s. Underwriters Laboratories revised standard UL 964 in 1994 to require positive temperature coefficient wire that self-regulates and a secondary overheat cutoff. Selling a non-UL certified electric blanket is now barred under CPSC regulation. The Sunbeam or Northern Electric blanket your grandmother kept on the spare bed is, in legal terms, contraband. Number 4. The Wedding Gift Countertop Microwave. This is the third one the intro promised, sold at Sears as the appliance every newlywed couple registered for, $399 for the deluxe Kenmore in 1984. Pre-1971 microwaves had no federal radiation leakage standard, and the FDA Radiation Control for Health and Safety Act set the limit at 5 milliwatts per square centimeter, measured 5 centimeters from the surface. Door seals on 1980s models warped, hinges loosened, and the FDA logged tens of thousands of units exceeding the limit through routine inspection. A leaking microwave today must be retired or repaired by a certified technician, and selling one is regulated under the Radiation-Emitting Electronic Products Performance Standards. The Kenmore on your parents' wedding registry is now classified as electronic radiation hazardous waste at every municipal recycling center, and most curbside programs will refuse to pick it up at the curb on bulk item day. Number 3. The wheeled baby walker that every household with a toddler owned through the 1980s. Costco, Evenflo, Graco, and Colecraft sold millions of them. The seat suspended in a frame on 4 casters, and the design rolled across linoleum at about 3 feet per second. The American Academy of Pediatrics linked walkers to roughly 23,000 emergency room injuries per year at the peak, mostly stairway falls. Canada banned the sale, advertising, importation, and resale of baby walkers outright on April 7, 2004, the first country in the world to do so. Possession in Canada carries a fine of up to $100,000. The United States did not ban them but required a wider frame after 1997 that cannot fit through a standard doorway. The walker your cousin had at 11 months in 1986 is, across the Canadian border, contraband. Number 2. The drop-side crib that every American nursery used from the 1950s through the late 2000s. The hardware allowed one side rail to slide down so a parent could lift the baby out without bending over. The mechanism failed when the plastic clips wore loose, the rail dropped partway, and a gap opened that infants slid into headfirst. The CPSC traced 32 infant suffocation and strangulation deaths to drop-side failures between 2000 and 2010, plus 14 earlier deaths that surfaced in litigation. 5 million cribs were recalled across 2007 through 2010. The CPSC banned the manufacture, sale, and resale of drop-side cribs nationwide on June 28, 2011, and required hotels and childcare centers to remove them by December 2012. Your sister's crib from 1985, the one in the attic with the original mattress, cannot legally change hands today, not at a garage sale and not on Craigslist. Number 1. The humming fluorescent tube fixture above the kitchen sink and the basement workbench. Magnetic ballasts manufactured before 1979 contained polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, inside small capacitors that regulated the current to the tubes. The EPA banned PCB manufacturing under the Toxic Substances Control Act in 1979, but ballasts already installed stayed in service. When a ballast failed, the capacitor leaked an oily black residue down the inside of the fixture, and that residue is classified as PCB-contaminated material under federal law. The EPA estimates millions of pre-1979 ballasts are still running in American homes, schools, and offices. Disposal requires hazardous waste handling. The garage light your father wired up in 1976 is, every time it hums a little louder, a small toxic event waiting for the bulb to flicker. The newer electronic ballasts solved the problem, but most pre-1979 fixtures were never swapped out unless something broke first. Look at the kitchen you grew up in, the avocado fridge, the wedding registry microwave, the lamp humming above the sink, the crib in the spare room, the blanket on the bed. Every one of those things was the safest version anyone knew how to make at the time, and the people who bought them were not careless. They trusted the badge on the box, and the rules caught up later. Now, I am not a doctor, and this is not medical advice. This is what regulators eventually decided about the appliances we grew up with. Drop a comment with the one item from this list you still have in your house, and tell me whether you are keeping it or letting it go.